Day 16. Peter Dunn, Pete the Planner, CEO of Hey Money, working on your financial life over this 30-day period, trying to ease the pain of the recession that we're in and the recession that is to come. If this is your first time here, what have you been doing for the last 15 days? Because we're here every day at 2 p.m. Eastern. Of course, then recorded on the YouTube. All right, today we're working on budgeting. We'll, of course, get there in just a moment. We have some housekeeping notes. Let's all appreciate the words and the tunes of my man, Mr. Kinetic, provides the music for this show. He's a beautiful man. He's an educator. He's an MC. He's a good human. We need those sorts of people. All right, everybody. So again, Peter Dunn, Pete the Planner, CEO of Hey Money and Your Money Line. We're a group of professional financial problem solvers. Little backstory that you didn't ask for. I used to be a financial advisor. I was for a very long time. Started noticing trends in my clients that really revolved around their behaviors, the decision making that they were experiencing around money. So instead of managing their investments, I decided to start focusing on their behavior. So I sold my investment practice and opened up Your Money Line, which is an employee benefits company where through your employer, we solve your financial problems. Then recently we extended that love to Hey Money, which is what we do in the general marketplace. So if your employer does not have Your Money Line, then you can get to us at Hey Money. It's really easy to do. Here's what we're doing over this 30-day period. Of course, we're trying to cut $500 of spending. In the last week and a half, specifically, I don't know, let's say last 5 or 6 days, you should have found quite a bit of savings. Most people going through this program right now should have found the $500 a month of savings. Today, we're going to quantify it even a little bit more, and we're going to compare your spending from January and February to what's been going on this month. Of course, we're trying to press reset. We're trying to get rid of some old habits and adopt some new ones, and we're going to stop guessing. There's no better way to stop guessing than running your budget every month, because you either failed at having a surplus or you succeeded at having a surplus. The goal of most months is to have more money at the end of the month than you had at the beginning of the month. That is called a surplus. To have a shortage is to have less than you had at the beginning of the month. Before we go too much further, let's talk about just the global economy, what's going on right now, what to expect. So, as we dig into the numbers, not only in the stock market and the economy, and you constantly keep your eye on the what's going on with COVID-19 and the cases and this, that, and the other. I'm personally convinced more than ever that there will be an additional stimulus package. I don't tell you this because I want you to wait for it and count on it. I want you to understand that the problem is so severe right now that most of the current stimulus package is more of a rescue bill than it is a stimulus bill. The point of a stimulus bill is to give money to people like you and me so we can put money back into the economy. But people are so damaged financially right now that it doesn't make sense for them to put money back into the economy, and there's no economy for them to put it back into because it has been closed. That is why I think, years from now, we will call this first round that we're going through right now the rescue bill, and we will call what happens in late May to early June, this is my prediction, we will call that the actual stimulus bill. And there may be stimulus bills after that, stimuli, if you will. If you want personal help, my team wants to help you. We really do. Go to callheymoney.com. You can talk to Gold Star Gail, maybe Queen of the Desert Kristen, Damien, Lisa, all sorts of people. If you listen to the Pete the Planner podcast or radio show, you know some of these folks. They join me on air from time to time, answer your financial questions. And, Pete the Planner podcast is free. If you're a podcast person and you like whatever you've experienced here, you want to get a little more technical, check out the Pete the Planner podcast. We have a lot of fun. And from time to time, we even teach you things about money. So anyway, go to callheymoney.com. It's $17.99 a month with offer code CHEESE. Many of you in the last couple of weeks have taken us up on this offer to help you with your finances. And as you will see today, as we help you build your budget, you may need personal assistance, and we want to provide that for you. Today, y'all, we are building that budget. We're actually going to get technical. I'm going to be pulling up a spreadsheet. I love spreadsheets. You might say that I excel at them. Anyway, I love them very much. And so I'm going to show you how to love them as well and how they can help you understand what's going on in your financial life. A lot of times people think spreadsheets are tedious and that they're too much work and this or that and the other. I'm going to show you a really simple way to use one to become more familiar with your habits. You know, you always feel you've got habits, right? You know you have habits, but it's really hard to quantify them. So the way we're going to use a spreadsheet today, we're going to quantify. My man Teddy, my son, you've met him on the show. Tomorrow's his birthday. He's outside playing and he's just waving at me. So I just had to acknowledge him. This is a very real moment these days. When my kids run in here when we're on this thing, I don't even care anymore. I'm not going to pretend like I'm in some sequestered studio with no human contact. We're all just doing the best we can. So if I had to wave at someone, it's happening. All right. Anytime you're about to budget, you have to understand theoretically why it's important. I tend to think it's important because of these three concepts, and they're very different, and they're all equally important. Awareness, communication, and accountability. These are the three reasons to budget. Let's explore them. Let's begin with awareness. So it turns out we all would like some level of awareness around our spending and our budget. But most people today get that level of awareness by just checking their online bank account balance. I do it. Other people do it. Some people do it every day. Other people do it every week. Some people only do it once a month. Here's what I know. And we've studied this. And you're going to deny this. And I'm okay with that because I've been around a lot of people who've denied this, but it's always true. Most people who consistently check their bank balance digitally will spend more money than those who don't constantly check their bank balance. We check it because we want to be aware. But the fact of the matter is, if we were aware in any given moment, we wouldn't have to check it, right? You use it as a crutch to not be aware and then be aware in the moment that you check it. I know this is very confusing. It sounds like I've been, taking prescription drugs, but I have not. Let me tell you, prior to online banking, people had more financial awareness, and it's not like they were opening their check register every 5 minutes. No one woke up at 7 a.m. in the 1980s and flew open their check register to see what was in their account. No one did that. No one turned away from their green screened computer after sending a fax in the 80s to check their balance, reach into their Jordache purse. No one did that in the 80s. So what we do now, we're constantly checking our balances. We get alerts, we get emails, we get all these things. We're no more aware than we were in the 80s. In fact, we are less aware. We talked about last week how often we spend money, how we constantly are spending money from a frequency standpoint. And that's why we want to count transactions. If you constantly are spending money 20 times a week or more per household, of course you have to look at your bank balance all the time because you don't know how much you're spending because you're out of control. This is the perfect time in your life to get this stuff under control. You're not spending money frequently. You're not spending a lot of money. Theoretically, you've got a lot of free time, right? You're spending time with me. I mean, you've already got low standards. You're hanging out with a guy like me. We need you to increase your awareness. And you know you're aware when you know your balance without looking. It's a little tricky. You know you're aware when you know your balance without looking. I happened to check my checking account balance this morning. I probably have not checked it in 2 to 3 weeks, right? But I knew what was in there this morning. I didn't have a guessing game when I looked at my balance this morning, but I pretty much knew. I know what it is now, and I know what it'll be over the next couple of weeks because I know what money I spend. I'm not a tedious person. People sometimes think I'm like this weird frugal guy that's a penny pincher. My close friends will tell you I am not. I'm really not. I am not afraid to spend money, but I do know what I spend and I keep track of it. And I'm not like a numbers guy in my head. I kind of am. But when it comes to my budget, I just try to simplify it so I always know. So that's reason number one. We're about to dig into Spreadsheet. Number two, if you have a significant other and you share finances with them, which most people should, not have a significant other, but share finances with their significant other, it's so important you're on the same page financially. I don't know about you. It's pretty stressful times. It's really easy to start arguing about anything. One thing you don't want to argue about in a stressful time, especially when the stressful time is brought on by financial issues, is to argue about those financial issues. You can't do it. Our budget meeting allows us to sit down once a month and talk about money in that environment and no other environment. Like I told you this past weekend when we talked money and relationships, to spring a financial conversation on your loved one is just not cool at all, because they're not going to be ready to talk about money no matter how ready you are. You always have to plan that conversation. It's much better to say, hey, honey, can we have a meeting this Saturday? As opposed to, oh, I have a financial question. Can we go through this right now? Don't do that. Plan it a few days out, especially in relation to this budget meeting we're going to work on today. Remember, you can always go and watch these back episodes. I've had a couple people say they binge them like it's Netflix. You need to examine yourself if that's what you're binging. But if you want to binge this show, by all means, binge this show on a weekend with your lovey-dovey. We'll get it done. All right, finally, before we actually dig into the spreadsheet, this is about accountability. If you've never had real structured financial goals, ones that have a date and a dollar amount to them, then you've never really needed accountability. The whole point of having goals and having a budget is so that the budget can hold you accountable to those goals. If you don't have goals, which you need goals more than you need a budget. If you don't have goals and you don't have a budget, it's never really mattered. Part of this program, which we're going to be doing in the coming days, is we're going to help you set realistic goals. Very specific task over a very specific period of time, costing a very specific amount of dollars, right? That's what a good goal is. What does the budget do? It forces you to look at your spending over the course of a month and say, all right, man, we spent too much on this, and it's not going to get away from us again because specifically of this, we're not accomplishing our goals. If you've dined out too much in the past, who hasn't, right? And you always say, oh, we dine out too much. You say it month after month after month, year after year after year. You do realize the reason that you've never changed that is because you've never matched up a specific healthy goal to that challenge. The second you do, it gets a lot easier to change your habits. We'll get there. All right, here's what you're going to need. You're not going to do this right now, by the way. Just watch me. Do it on your own. Pull it up on a window on your computer. Shrink it so you don't have to see as much of my face. And then you can create a spreadsheet off to the side, which I'm going to show you how to do. So to do this, you either have a bank statement printed out, which I know is unrealistic because the home printer is the least workable solution in America today. How is it that we can put a man on the moon, but we can't get a home printer to work more than for like 45 days? Am I right? All right, so get a bank statement. It can be printed out. That's fine. It can be the one they actually mail you. They can mail you a statement if you don't care about the environment. And then, or you could just pull it up on a computer screen or your phone. And what we're trying to get is 30 days worth of spending, or 31 if it's 31 days in the month, or 29 if it's... Shh. We're going to start with January, as you'll see in a second. We're going to classify all your spending for January. If you also spend money via credit cards, you're going to need those statements too. If you spend money via cash, this gets a little tricky. Part of the reason you use cash is because you don't want to know. Other people use cash because they once they run out, then they run out and they can't spend anymore. And I buy that to a degree. But if you're using cash and it's not part of a bigger like envelope system or something like that, it's because you really don't want to be accountable to your spending. Just saying. All right, so then you also need some sort of spreadsheet program. I'm going to use Numbers on my Mac here. Why? Because it's the hardest program to use and it stinks and it's not intuitive. If I can use this on the fly and I never use it, you can use Excel or Google Sheets and get by just fine. You don't have... Hi, Ted. I'm waving again. Tito keeps waving. He's a happy kid. Last day is a 7-year-old. I wonder if he wakes up with hair on his chest tomorrow. We'll check. It's weird. It doesn't matter what spreadsheet program you use. I prefer you use one, though. Next up, if you were like, I'm not going to use a spreadsheet, Peter. Our Tandy is not working. That would be a computer. Then you can use paper and a calculator, right? Pen and paper and a calculator. It's old school way. My first budget, this is so cliche, was on the back of a cocktail napkin. Why did I have a cocktail napkin when I was 16? That's for a different day, right? Paper, pen, calculator works just the same. Here's how this works. Ideally, you got two people doing this. To have one person to do it, it's fine. It's a little bit tedious. Two people opens up the lines of communication. And also, people will ask and have asked, well, is there a program that does this for you? Yeah, there is, but it doesn't help you as much as what I'm telling you. You have to get your hands dirty, right? I've been making bread every other day because now I'm on Little House on the Prairie during this pandemic. You got to get in there. You got to get your hands dirty. Don't use a food processor. Get your hands dirty. With your budget, create your own. Don't use some automated one because you won't understand your expenses as much. If I got a problem and Mrs. Planner figures that out by me constantly identifying that problem 15 times over the course of the month, I think we're going to talk about it. If it's automated through some program that pulls down through your bank and spits out a chart, you're not talking about it. You're not feeling it. The most important part of this exercise is you and your significant other spending 20 to 30 minutes together once a month doing this. It takes 20, 30 minutes a month, by the way, initially, and then it goes faster than that once you get the hang of it. And if you can't do it when none of us are spending any money right now, you're never going to be able to do it. So let's do it. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's get a budget. I have to switch programs here real quick. All right, can you see this? This is the horrible numbers spreadsheet program on my Mac. I got to see. I know, I got to pull it over a little bit. There you can go. You can see it a little bit better there. Okay, running out of battery, everyone. Freak out. Oh, no. All right, here we go. What you need to do is down the first column, column A, on whatever program you're leaving, leave a couple spaces at the top, and then write your expenses down the side. Mortgage or rent, and then you can put all your utilities, you can put your food. Just go off the ideal budget from yesterday and get the main categories. And then, as you will quickly see, as you're going through your bank statement, you will start to notice that you need to fill in additional categories, which is fine. List the months across these different columns here and just put them all in one row. We're going to start with January, then hit February, March, and then since this has been the longest March in the history of mankind, 2nd March and 3rd March is what. Doesn't it feel that way? Yeah. Katie just says, I'm missing 11th March. No joke. Today's March 79th. I cannot believe this has been all one month. Wow. It's unbelievable. Anyway, we'll get there. So this is how you do it. This is very simple. I'm going to show you something. So if you have one rent payment over the course of the month, which you're going to, you just type in the number. So let's say it's $892 for that month. Okay. So on your bank statement, when you see it, make mental note that check cleared or however you paid that $892. Natural gas for your house. Okay. Let's say it's $48 for the month. Okay. You get where we're going with this. Now let's go down to a category that's a little more complicated. Dining out. All right. This is where it really helps to have two people involved. And this is where the conversation starts to get interesting. I don't know why I'm whispering right now. What you're going to do, ideally, on these discretionary categories, you're going to go through and you're on your statement, if you print it out, and you're going to circle all of the ones in the same category with a similar color, okay? So that's to say, every dining out or every going out for coffee or work lunch, try to classify them. And then what you do is you hit the equal sign, okay? Then you type the first expenditure, $34.56. Then you hit the plus sign. And then you do the next one, $12.98. Then you do the next one. You got coffee for $2.79. Then you hit the next one. Oh, is Timmy's little birthday party. So you went to Chuck E. Cheese, Charles Entertainment Cheese, and then there's your dining for the month. Okay? That's how you do it. Next, of course, do the same thing for the grocery store. If you happen to have a car payment, that's how you do it. At the bottom of this sheet, what you do is the very bottom, when all the expenses are entered, hit the equal sign, type the word sum. You can even put, and then you put an apostrophe or a parenthesis. So shift 9, you put a parenthesis, and then just put all these expenses. You just drag up, close the parentheses, and then there's the total spending for the month. You see that? Again, you can see the formula right there. Sum, parentheses, which is shift 9, the entire column, and then close parentheses. Okay. If you get stuck on this, let us know in the comments. I know I'm explaining this in Excel spreadsheet. If you're just joining us, which is, again, very weird that you would just tune in to the 20-minute mark of a live thing on the Facebook. I'm using Numbers, which is an Apple spreadsheet product that's terrible. It's worse than Apple Maps on your phone. I mean, it's terrible. iMaps or whatever they call it. I'm using it to show you how easy spreadsheets are because this one is the dumbest one that exists. I prefer Excel, and I think Google Sheets, which you can find via Gmail, are better than everything. Next, you go through and you do each month. Go ahead and then do February. Then do 1st March. And then do April. Okay, Mr. Funny Guy. And then you do May. Obviously, we have no expenses for April or May yet. You're going to go through and you're going to look at trends. You're going to say, oh, yeah, we struggled this month. And I think what you're really going to notice, specifically between January and March or January and April, is how some of these discretionary habits, like dining out, how they begin to shift and change. That's what we want to see. So your homework for tonight, you get to see my face again. Your homework for tonight is to do this. Just grab a spreadsheet. Don't overcomplicate it. It's just addition. That's it. There's no subtraction. There's no multiplication, division, square roots, nothing. Just addition. You can do that. Remember, when you're entering multiple numbers in one particular cell, hit the equal sign, put the number, put the plus sign, put another number, so on and so forth. That's your homework for tonight. Coming back tomorrow, we're going to talk about your problem areas. You're going to learn about price targets, and you're going to learn how to cut spending. All right, we're doing this from the ground up, baby. If you need help, get help. Go to callawaymoney.com. We'll help you. It's $17.99 with the offer code CHEESE. We'll get in there and help you. We talk to you about on the phone for about a half hour at a time. We like really focused, important conversations. We will evaluate your financial life. We've received hundreds of calls in the last few weeks as we help people through this recession. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Tomorrow, let's see if we can have Teddy on the show, celebrate his 8th birthday. You know, there's a lot of kids out there, a lot of adults celebrating their birthdays in quarantine. So we'll see if we can have a little fun with Tito tomorrow. Hey, get after this. Get after this. If you have a significant other, try to get it done without springing the conversation on too much. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.